Hello, hello. All right, let's go ahead and cut these. Don't need these running. All right. Should be good to go here. I need to do one more thing. Need to get Zendu. Give me one moment. Throw you down there. All right, we should be good to go. Good morning, good morning. Hope you're all doing well. Let's take a quick look at what we got moving. ABP. Kind of a gap up. Pretty huge gap up here. 27 all the way up to like 90. Very interesting on this one. Basically no volume. JZXN, Chinese stock. It looks like it did something interesting yesterday, but yeah, it's really in this territory. Yeah. MBOT actually looking pretty good here. Yeah, maybe worth keeping an eye on MBOT. All right, we'll give a couple minutes for people to come in. I got a couple things I want to talk about from yesterday, but I just want to wait for some more people to come before we get started. But yeah, I'm thinking mostly just MBOT right now. And even then, this one isn't like great. All right. Yeah, there's not even any news on this either. This just kind of moved up and broke out from a technical level. If you're coming into the stream, if you could do me a favor and hit that like button, I would appreciate it. All right. DDOG, is that something? I mean, this thing's moving, but it's super expensive. Yeah, I mean, I can't trade this. This is way too pricey. This has a lot of range to it, too. 68 up to 200, back to 100. Out of curiosity, what is the float? 350 million. Okay, fair enough. All right, thank you guys for leaving likes, those of you that did. So I'll go ahead. I want to start by talking about ICU yesterday and this pattern we've seen. So this stock rolled over entirely, which is fine. I just didn't get the memo right. Actually, let me switch to a 2-day time frame just to show it a bit better. So this stock ended up popping up and failing immediately. There was no bounce. It just kind of stopped, right? There was no continuation, just low volume, pump and dump. There was nothing else to it. This really wasn't any kind of manipulation, I think. This is more of just a stock popped on no news. No one cared. It just dropped. It was over. No real manipulation there. But more so, I find it very interesting that this kind of result happened in a period where nothing else is really working either. Not going to call out other traders, but there's other people that I'm networked with, and a lot of people seem to be struggling to find anything that's really working right now. That combined with my observation that the days have been slower. I've had 3 red days in a row. And now this stock setup, which to my standards, I assessed correctly, right? There was, the criteria were all there, but the stock failed. I mean, to me, it just signals that when the market's slower, even setups that would have a higher chance of working, like this one did meet my criteria, and I didn't make an execution mistake. It was purely just the market's slower. I'm going to get punished more, which is fair, but I think I just need to recognize that. PHIO is moving. Luck. Yeah, oh, good luck, yeah. No, I appreciate it, man. Yeah, PHIO does appear to be moving. Certainly keep this one on watch. Go ahead and update the scanners here. Yeah, I'm thinking just MBOT and PHIO right now. So here's kind of my thinking at the moment. If we're not getting a lot of volume in general, this one does have more volume, by the way, but cheaper stock. But if we're getting lower resolution moves, and even the quality setups that I would deem as high quality, if they aren't even working, should I really be attempting any setup that meets my criteria? I mean, it's a good question, because yesterday I got punished for post-assessment what I thought was a good setup, which post-assessment is right, that's the hindsight. So if in hindsight I thought it was a good setup and it still didn't work, there could be some credibility that the slower market makes any setup of mine drop, right? I think that's a valid observation. I don't think it's a coincidence either that a lot of my peers that I've been watching have been struggling too. But yeah, getting some interesting volume here. Just curious. Really, no news on this move. Okay. Yeah, okay, this kind of throws it out for me. It's already a cheaper stock. If there's going to be no news on top of that, in this market where stocks aren't moving as much, I definitely don't touch this. But yeah, honestly, I'm going to be really waiting to see if we get these better follow-throughs. Skin cancer news. Okay. So you're saying there is news. There isn't any coming up here on Thinkorswim. Okay, worth noting. Yeah, so if there is news, fair enough. Yeah, so Thinkorswim has failed me here, if that's true. Because this has been, what, it's been like 7 or 8 minutes and it hasn't populated here. Okay, so, yeah, I would adhere to JB Trader here, yeah. If there is news, then it's just not showing up on Thinkorswim. OSCX, nah, there's no real volume to that one. $18 already. I'm surprised. Thank you guys for tuning in here. Pretty early start. I mean, who knows? I'm hoping we can end this red streak, but we can't force it either, right? The real question is if I see a high quality setup, do I take it knowing that there's a higher chance the setup might still fail because it's a slower market? Like, that's the critical question. And to me, it's like, if it's meeting all the criteria, you should have an edge doing it anyway, so you should just do it. That's kind of where I'm sitting. But I do want to keep an open mind and know that if I am seeing these high quality setups and this pattern is repeating, where even if the setup looks high quality, if I keep losing them, then I will need to adjust. I'm willing to give it a bit more exposure to see if that pattern continues. But right now, I'm just kind of observing. I'm observing that there could be a need to pull back, even if my setups are coming into play. Good morning, and thank you for the live stream. Yeah, no problem, man. I appreciate it. I'm just here trying to show me trying to make it through this. I mean, I'm happy with how the account's gone so far. It might not look like it, but like, we are net negative, but we are still gross positive. So from that perspective, I think I'm doing exceptionally well still, at least compared to the average trader, even though it might not look like it. We're actually about break even on the account once you account for the interest I've accrued. I've got about $10 or so in interest. So the account is actually still basically flat, which is quite ironic. But yeah, we'll just have to wait and see how things go. Good morning, Skivon. Good morning, Bobby. But yeah, the plan today, I'm still willing to engage with setups as long as they're high quality, but I do need to observe if this failure rate continues that I may need to step back and wait for moves to break down. Basically, if it continues to show that my strategy isn't working, I need to basically just pull back entirely, let setups come and go without me that show that, hey, this is working now before I try to re-engage. And that's kind of where I'm sitting. Good morning, Mr. Noob. If you guys are just coming in here, if you could do me a favor and hit that like button. I see we're currently at 7 likes. PHIO is too cheap. Yeah, I mean, it is pretty cheap, certainly. I need to see price skipping 10-20 cents at a time. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so, yeah, this is very interesting. So, JB Trader, you called out that this had news, probably the 7 o'clock mark, considering when this started moving. But Thinkorswim didn't report on this one until 7:09. So they did report on it, they just did it 9 minutes late. This is much later than normal. Usually Thinkorswim is on top of this. Just want to flag that they seem to have been slower on this one. But yeah, I'm really coming into this from a perspective of I need to make sure, considering the market's slower, it seems like if I'm even slightly off calibrated, that it could result in a loss right now. So I'm still willing to engage, but it's got to be a high quality setup. Like it needs to be meeting my criteria here. All right, a lot of people I've seen have been getting burned lately. I've been getting burned lately. And the market's just been slower. I'm sure a lot of you have experienced it too. Particularly the last, we'll just say like week. Yeah, they have a shelf registration that went live in December 4th. So kind of a recent prospectus, but not really. It's like 2 months old. It's kind of like on the border of still being relevant. So this could have room to run, right? It probably was around here. No, here. So looks like they did the prospectus here. The question would be, from 141 till now, has the distribution already occurred? My guess would be probably most of it, but it's hard to say for sure. Dilution could be in play, but it's unclear. Also, ICU showed up here again. So like this is the second time Weasel has done this. I don't really care, but like it's interesting that sometimes they don't remove the orders that I took the previous day. This is the second time. It doesn't matter. Just a weird observation. But no, in case you're wondering, I have not taken any further trades on ICU. Also 11 likes, thank you guys. 12 likes, wow. Thank you guys so much. That's a 50% like rate, that's awesome. I appreciate all you guys that are leaving the likes here. Yeah, and PHIO. I mean, it's first of all, it's just grinding, right? Like this is a very, very slow speed of movement. The price is very cheap. I mean, to be fair, it does have news, so I will give it credit there. It does have news. It does have a decent amount of volume. The float's probably higher, though, because if dilution occurred 2 months ago, this might not have been updated. So the float could just be higher. But yeah, to me, I don't think this is worth engaging with. Man, 15 likes. Oh, you guys are crushing it. What the heck? Almost all of you have left a like. You guys are... I truly appreciate it. Thank you, guys. It's the best thing you can really do to help out, other than sharing the stream, but I'm not going to go that far. That's like the above and beyond. Honestly, considering how I've been trading lately, I don't even know if I deserve to be shared, but I do appreciate the like. Go ahead and throw a poll out here. AZI is moving. All right, so we do have AZI. This one is Chinese. I mean, this thing has been popping up randomly, continuously. Does look like it has news. I appreciate the transparency. Yeah, you got to be transparent, right? Got to show the wins, got to show the losses. Otherwise, I mean, what am I even showing you guys? I'm sharing a lie if I don't share with you guys the red days, you know? Like, got to show both sides. Yeah, you guys think it's cold? I mean, that's my read too. Is it definitely feels between so-so and cold, and I'm leaning towards cold. There were a few hot instances, like we had MPT last week, I think. Was it last week? It might have been early last week. It was either early last week or late the week before. But we had MPT, which is a very strong move. But other than that, I can't really think of anything that's moved well. But yeah, groundbreaking news. Company invests 1.1 billion in counter-cyclical acquisition of... Okay, so it's just an acquisition of a crypto thing. Partnership talks. This is a ton of buzzwords. I mean, quite frankly, I don't really trust AZI. This thing has been faking out, quite frankly, like almost 10 times now in the last several months. I think of those times it has popped a couple. So maybe worth keeping on watch just as like a candidate option. It does have some volume too, so it does have the criteria to do something. Certainly. Is he too much resistance on daily, easy pass? Yeah, there is quite a lot of resistance here, but we're not here yet, right? We're way down here at 216. That's way down here. So if you're talking daily resistance, you could argue that there's room to move up to around like 260, 270. So I think daily resistance isn't really in play yet. Unless you would argue that this presence creates pressure even though the price isn't there yet. Either way, we're getting a nice little pump here. Yeah, 400,000 volume is significant. How do you invest 1.1 billion in a company if you're like a small cap stock? How does that even happen? I mean, you got to have like some third party investing through you. that's making you invest in crypto, right? Like, I feel like that's got to be the only way they could do it. Okay, so they have an S8 registration that they did like 2 weeks ago for some shares. So insiders got shares of this company like 2 weeks ago. Maybe worth keeping in mind. All right, so this did get a second leg. I mean, honestly, I want this to work, even though I'm not going to be in it. I just want it to work. That way, it kind of reignites small caps, because like we need small caps to be ignited. So whether you're going to be in this trade or not, I think we should all want this to work. If this does continue up, I'm expecting 260, 270 to start to be real resistance because of the daily. Continuing to get some strong volume here. But yeah, I think a lot of us didn't really expect this to resolve cleanly. I noted that there was the potential for it being there with the volume in the news, but like, I wasn't really expecting this to move up. But yeah, I'm still waiting on my account to be funded. I started the transfer yesterday to fund the second account. So once that finishes, probably towards the end of this week, then I will start trying to implement my new strategy. So I'm looking forward to that. Yeah, so this is where I feel like it's going to start to get rough. Because even if you get a third leg here, you're going straight into daily resistance. And even from this move, like we're only up 30%. So like this feels like a great move. And I guess 30% is good, but it just doesn't, even this move doesn't feel great. It needs a third leg to really be considered like a more impressive move. Well, let's see if we get it. We're still getting big volume here. We'll see if we get it. Yeah, it seems like consensus is clear among you that have voted. Seems like most people seem to agree that it is colder. I mean, it is pretty cold outside. Getting some pretty significant volume here. This one was kind of a doji though, so I'm not really going to say this volume is pure selling. This could be signals of the top. I'm curious though to see if we actually do get that bounce, because it could be accumulation too, because this wasn't a strong downward move. a little bit unclear to me. Does it appear that small caps seem to trend with crypto markets now? They are also trending colder. I've seen a lot of people bring that up. My intuition would say no, but I can't deny that both seem to have happened at the same time. So what I would say is, and this is just my perception, I could be mistaken. My answer to you would be no. The small caps are not following crypto, but rather crypto and small caps are following something else, right? So it's not like a direct connection that crypto affects small caps. It's more that crypto and small caps are trading colder because of a third factor. That would be my guess. Because to me, if we were in a market where all of the small caps were moving because of crypto news, then I would say, yeah, that would make more sense. But because a lot of these moves that have happened haven't been crypto related, at least not recently, I don't think the tie that a slower crypto market would mean a slower small cap market. That's just kind of like my logical thinking there. Like, I could be totally mistaken. It's hard to prove anything. I do think that it is a valid observation that crypto and small caps have cooled down at the same time, and that may not be a coincidence, but I don't exactly see why the two would be connected, which is why I'm saying I think there's a third variable that just so happened to affect both of them. That's just my guess, though. Yeah, this looks very unclear to me. Like, I mean, we're having a 1 minute high that faked out, high volume, but it's not immediately following through either. So this looks very unclear right now. I feel like it's a coin flip if this is going up or down. Yeah, I mean, I'm just looking at the other stocks here. It's just, I mean, even looking at the like gap scanner, we don't really have much. ABP is the only thing, and it just kind of popped and then went sideways. Volume's remaining elevated on this pullback. Right. Hasn't really dropped off much. What did we peak at? We peaked at like 30% or something, right? 35 probably. 35% move. Not amazing. Just curious, what is my strategy? So my strategy is one I've worked on a little over 2 years. It is basically a overcorrection fair value gap on breakdowns. That is the primary one. It's what I've been doing for most of the documentation on this channel, right? First 2 months, gross EV was $213 profit. Third month was gross EV of $80 profit. So far into month 4, gross EV is looking to be about $35 red. So this month is the first month of using this strategy. I've been net red. Very nice follow through here. But in terms of the actual strategy, like I said, it is mostly in... Wow. Oh, what the heck? What the... I'm sorry, what on earth was that move? Wow. So we just break here, have huge volume, surge this up to 50. Immediately reject it. Wow. I'm sorry, I was distracted by that. What a nasty move. Okay, sorry. Anyway, to your point, so like I said, it is a fair value gap. So if a stock breaks down too quickly, there's not enough supply with that breakdown. To me, that is a discrepancy. Combined with a couple other factors, I argue that there is a chance of a recovery attempt, and that is what I play. Yeah, $5 million company investing $1.1 billion. Give me a break. Yeah, no, the news doesn't strike me as impressive, and it isn't crypto news catalyst too, and we haven't really had crypto work well lately. So the news is kind of a nothing burger. I didn't expect this move at all. So I'm happy that it happened, but I'm just kind of surprised. Yeah, this is why we do not trade AZ. Yeah, no, it's... I mean, I called it out when I pulled it up. It was a Chinese stock. So immediately that made me more skeptical. Not only that, but AZI and JZXN, they both have a history of pumping and dumping. So that too makes me even more hesitant to get involved with this. The only real thing that was different from this move that I could observe was that the volume profile was a bit better on this one. This volume is quite high. So that's the only thing I really felt had going for this move, was just that it looked like it had more behind it than normal. But what this is, and this wasn't just a pop and drop either. This broke up and held there for a couple seconds and then pushed back down over several seconds. It wasn't like an instant pop and drop. Like if you wanted to, you could have probably reflexively traded this. But it's still very nasty. MDCX might be doing something. Okay, what is this? This does have news at the half hour. Okay, pharma study receives FDA study may proceed clearance. I mean, that's positive. That is positive news. That could have something to it. No, I think that's a strong catalyst. Unfortunately, the float's a bit higher on this one, or shares outstanding is a bit higher. So that may impact the move, but this definitely has a good catalyst behind it. Like, if this was a lower float, I might even be interested in taking a trade on this one. News is not... I disagree, Poe. I mean, I think that's good news. I mean, receiving FDA study may proceed clearance, like that seems like good news to me. $19 million share float on MDCX. I'll pass. Yeah, that's, like I said, that's the big issue. I like the news. And we didn't mention this either. The price is a little bit cheap. So the price is a little cheap. Float's kind of high. It does, in my opinion, have good news, but the other factors are kind of missing. I agree. Although if this does sell off enough, because I like the news, but it is in a downtrend. What are we looking for dilution here? Let's see. They had a shelf registration less than a week ago. Okay, that's problematic. They put a shelf registration literally a week ago. Yeah. Okay, that's even worse. Yeah, full move returned within 5 minutes netter. Nor. Okay. So yeah, the fact that there is a shelf registration certainly makes this even less appealing. Yeah. NKTR is moving. Go ahead, take a look. Certainly interesting movement. Probably some sort of like biotech or something, or I would assume. Lot of crazy words here. Magic Man. Yeah, it looks like some sort of biotech news. Price is a bit higher, so I don't really know if I want to mess with it. JZXN moving up on my scanner. Hate that one too, never touch it. Oh, is JZXN moving too? I mean, it's kind of going sideways, I think. Yeah. Yeah, I think this one's just moving. It's too high priced for me. I probably can't mess with this one. I mean, this is appealing to me, and I suppose this is worth watching to see how this reacts here. But, like, considering it's a higher float, considering there is a very recent shelf registration, I don't think it's a good idea to mess with this. So I'm probably just going to leave NDA. I'm going to keep this one on watch because I want to see how it resolves, but I don't think I'm going to make a conscious decision not to touch this one. Yeah, ACI, it's anyone's guess what this thing's doing. When it did this pump and dump, to me at that point, it's just shown it's untrustworthy. I mean, I didn't really trust it anyway, but I especially don't trust it now that it did this. Wouldn't trade AZI with my enemy's money. Yeah, I mean, it's certainly worth, and again, I'm not betting, but I'm hoping AZI goes up because I want the momentum to be reignited. So I'm hoping it goes up. But to me, it really just feels like a coin flip if it's going to roll over. Like, I'm probably like 60 or 70% on the team of it's going to roll over. AZI does have news, yes. 1.1 or $1.8 billion premium digital asset investment. So they're some sort of transaction to invest in crypto. Good morning, Cap. Good morning, Ovter. Good morning, good morning. It's been a slower morning so far. Just waiting for that one that goes to skipping 34 cents, 30, 40 cents at a time. Yeah, that's really what we want. Certainly. I mean, I think 30, 40 cents at a time might be a bit much. Maybe even like, if we're going like on a per minute basis, if you're seeing 10 cents movement per minute, I think that's acceptable. 24 million shares traded, float 1.8 mil. I think AZI had a shelf registration recently, so the float could be higher. Let me check that. I think they did. Yeah, January 21st, they had a registration for shares for insiders. So, yeah, they had a registration there recently. Before that, they haven't really had one in the last 6 months. So just the one that they had a couple weeks ago. But that was more for insiders. So that's not typically as dilutive in nature. I mean, I could look at the details of it just because it could be relevant. How many shares did they get? Okay, 7 million. That's a lot of shares. Okay, that's a couple shares. 7 million. All right, I didn't think it was going to be that much. Okay, that's okay. So that could be relevant. Yeah. I don't really, maybe I should like make a way for me to share my screen or share my window better. Right? Like, cause I can do this, but it's not the best because you kind of have it cut off a little bit. But yeah. Yeah, Form S8. Let me just make sure this is definitely on screen. Form S8 registering 7 million additional Class A ordinary shares. So, yeah, 2 weeks ago they put that out. So that is very dilutive in nature, especially if the outstanding shares is only 3 million. They're essentially saying, hey, we're going to triple the float. So that is significant downward pressure. Right, that could explain too why on the daily we've been seeing this pop up and drop so much. There could just be dilution occurring here. Yeah, honestly, I'm just gonna stay patient. Like, go ahead, just out of curiosity. So MDCX, this one when it failed, it's repeating the pattern of yesterday with ICU, which was ICU broke down immediately within a few minutes, and then just went dry with no continuation. So I'm curious if this is going to resolve the same, if there'll be no bounce and it just dries up as well. So I'm gonna, like I said, I'm keeping an eye on that one because that one's basically a direct example for me to look at. Go ahead and throw a pull out while we're waiting here. Pump or dump? MDCU is like yesterday's BFRI. Big jump thing, plunge below prior day close. Yeah. Gonna look at that. Ooh, wow. Yeah, I didn't even see this one. I'm going to take a look at this. This is interesting. BFRI. I didn't see this yesterday. Was this after 9? Yeah, okay. Yeah, I left at 9, so I missed this. Wow. That's nasty. Yeah, it really, really feels like we're just in a colder market right now. We've seen a sudden shift. It hasn't been sudden, but like January was pretty good. So for us to go from a pretty good January to just not great resolution, it certainly feels colder. I am more bearish than bullish on AZI, but I am not ruling out the shenanigans, okay? Like, I mean, this has already shown it can make a second leg, and it's already showed very strange movement here with this huge pump and dump. So I'm not ruling out shenanigans with this one. Y'all are just haters that don't think it can pump. I'm saying, I'm going and saying there's probably a 60 to 70% chance it dumps. I think there's a 30 to 40% chance this pumps. I'm more optimistic than you might think. Tape reading red minute by minute. Yeah. Iceberg dilution. It could be. Thing is, though, is that on this move down, this volume has dried up considerably relative to the first part of this move. So I don't really hold as much weight on this move because there was less volume behind it. Hopium. It's gonna dump. It's only a matter of time. It's gonna dump before it dumps, or it's gonna pump before it dumps. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I'd say there's a good chance of that if it does. Yeah, try to trap longs. Like this could be the trap, right? Maybe this is the trap to trap longs, and now it just does a huge rug here. I mean, it would make sense. Man, you guys are like overwhelmingly dump. Holy crap. 20 votes and 19 out of 20 of you are saying it's going to dump. Am I the minority? Because, like, again, like, to me, it's like, it's held up well in the first leg. It's already shown. Oh, did I lose connection? Okay, it looks like a little lag there. All right, I had a little lag there. I think we're back, hopefully. But like, to me, it's already shown it can make a second leg. It's already shown that it's willing to do crazy shenanigans. Like, I think there's a chance this thing pumps. I do. Nice job, John. Yeah, I saw my things. It said I had a drop too. Hopefully it doesn't get too bad. Keep an eye on it, see if it gets any worse. Trash Chinese company already approved up to 5,000 to 1 reverse split, 30 cents profit and out. Just waiting on Ross to hit the sell. Yeah. Yeah, you just gotta wait for that. You gotta wait for it to rally to here. You do the Ross strat where you anticipate Ross is gonna buy the break. So you buy before it gets to here. Price finally goes to here. You see it spike up to 50 and that's where you sell. I hope something pumps isn't just AZI. Yeah, I mean, even if AZI pumps, I want it to pump because that would be good for building the bull case. But what a crappy, like, the news is, who cares about this? News doesn't matter. It's a sketchy Chinese stock. They have a shelf registration. Like, it's This is like such a crappy quality stock. So for this to be the best opportunity really sucks. Right? Like, I think we can agree there. And I'm really surprised. I mean, I guess intuition, right? Like, all of the things I described are terrible qualities. So for most of you to be saying you think it's going to dump, I get that. I get that. Okay, I really just wanted to pump so I can go nah. I told you so. How about ABP? Yeah, this one was moving from yesterday. But, like, the problem is that I think it already did the move, right? Like, it's already done most of the move. I don't really like continuation style setups, because it feels like you're missing the move. Yeah, since morning, this has just been going down, too. PHIO, but feels thick. Yeah, I gave up on PHIO. It was a bit cheaper. I think the float was higher too, right? Yeah, higher shares. This thing's moving much slower. You got to consider this entire move was like 15-20 cents. Like that's not a lot, and it's taken over an hour to do that. What happened to Vadim? It's a good question. I mean, Vadim's in a rough spot. Like, I like the guy. I think, I don't know, it's rough. He doesn't really engage with criticism from what I've seen. Like, I don't see him ever respond to criticism. So that worries me, because I want to see him grow as a trader. And I feel like he's just taking a lot of the criticism as a personal attack. So I think that might be getting to him. I don't know. I noticed it too. He hasn't uploaded for like a week or something. I mean, he had that $1,000 loss like a week ago or something. So he's probably, and that's the unfortunate thing. Like, a lot of these new traders, maybe they get a lucky streak, but then once they start having these big drawdowns and then they start getting all this criticism, they don't know how to handle it. And I have deep sympathy for them. I just hope if he does stick around that he starts listening and trying to learn from what people are saying and not just ruling it out as criticism. But it's hard. It really is hard. Big buyer on the bid with a 4.3K order at 209. 4,000 share order is not that big on a stock like this, Pie Man. So let me go ahead and show this here. This is the level 2. I'm only going to show it a moment, but you can see here there's massive orders on both sides. So a 4,000 share order is nothing. Coming on top of the hour, could have news. A new stock pop up. Yeah, I mean, right? Fingers crossed, right? I'm hoping that it works. It looks like the 95% of you may be right here about the dump. I'm still holding out hope for AZI, but my hope is very quickly dwindling. Yeah, he has a lot of work to do on both personal and trading, certainly, yeah. Yeah. I'm cutting out. Am I still cutting out? It looks like I'm not cutting out now. If I am cutting out, let me know. Audio's fine there. Okay. Yeah, it looks like the stream's good now. Yeah, no, I'm good now. Yeah, okay. Okay. Yeah, if I do keep cutting out, let me know. Like, I mean, it's internet, so I don't really know what more I could do because I'm already hardwired in. So I'm not really sure what more I could do, but if it does persist, let me know. Yeah, okay. But yeah, fingers crossed. We're basically waiting for top of the hour here. I feel in a pretty good mental state at the moment. And remember, I'm not even upset if I don't take any trades today, because I do get that passive income on the money I don't trade with. Oh, you meant on AZI. Okay, so let me look at the level 2 for AZI. Yeah, a 4,000, even on AZI, a 4,000 share order isn't that big. Right? I'm occasionally seeing like 5 to 10,000 on the bid and ask. So, yeah, a 4,000 share order really isn't that big. I actually see kind of a bigger order here, but... And here's something I always try to think about too, is how big are the order sizes relative to the volume, right? Because you look at this, we're looking at like upwards of like 500,000 for this area. What is this around here? So we're looking at around 100,000 volume for these candles. So a 4,000 share order when there's 100,000 volume, that's not a big percentage, right? That can be taken out very, very quickly. 4K order on $2 and nothing burger. Yeah. Yeah, 4,000 isn't enough. Maybe on a micro float stock where the spread is very thin. But in general, even 4,000 really isn't that much. Right, this is a $2 stock. That's an $8,000 order. That's not a huge impact. Yeah, exactly. Bobby is exactly right. A 4K order on a $40 stock is a different story. Absolutely. Yeah. The float and the share price matter tremendously for how important an order block is. A 4,000 order block on a stock like this with this kind of volume and this profile is not significant. Relative volume and price. Yes. Cheaper stocks mean I can buy more. Good morning. Had the best execution on any trade in the last 3 months on AZI. Don't know why. Kind of random ticker to have on that. Could have executed on any better. You chose AZI. I mean, fair enough. What did you do? Like, where did you buy? You had excellent execution. What did you buy for this? Or did you buy on the front side during the first 1 minute pullback? What did you do, Tristan? Tell me your ways, how you made money on this fine day. Educate us. What the hell, PO? What did PHI? Oh God, what did it do? What did it do? Okay, it didn't do that much. All right. I mean, that's certainly an increase in volume here. Traded your bread and butter setup on it. Well, fair enough, Tristan. I mean, this is certainly more appealing now. Much higher volume. 103 to 130 or so. So about a 30% move in 1 minute. That's significant. And it does seem to be right before the top of the hour, which is very peculiar. It would happen before the top of the hour. I would be very curious to see if news comes out at the top of the hour here, because that would be very telling if that happens. Pump, dump, then pump again. Yeah, this candle's very weird, right? So it looks like it popped, dropped, recovered, and made another pop, and it's just ranging a lot. $7:20 a.m. bottom tick. Let me look at yours real quick. So you're saying 7:20, bottom ticked it. Okay, so you bought here. You bought at the very bottom of this for the break back up. Fair enough. I mean, you definitely traded front side, right? This had good continuation on the first move up. I would have been worried about a potential pullback here, right? You missed it. The pullback was here, so you did manage to catch that final wind. I mean, good enough. If that's your bread and butter and it worked, good stuff. PHIO, that heavier float will come into play at market open. Probably. But yeah, we're at the top of the hour. Hopefully we get something on the scanners here. Again, I'm not trying to push it today. If I see a good opportunity come to me, then I might be more willing to engage with it. MDCX, I do want to just retouch on it to validate. We are seeing a repeat of the pattern from ICU. Just drops down, volume dries up, sideways. Right, ICU. 2-day time frame, same thing. Pops up, drops down sideways. So we're seeing this pattern repeat. Thanks, man. A setup I've been trading and optimizing for 5 months. Very impressive. EVMN is moving. A bit of a more expensive stock, though. Okay, so this is a newer stock. And it's been ranging a lot. It had news 30 minutes ago, and it just had no volume. I really don't like... I hate this volume profile. This crept up on no volume at all. Yeah. EVGN, no news. It says there's news here. Bobby, that's inaccurate. There seems to be news. Evogene announces expanded collaboration with Google Cloud to integrate AI into Campass AI. A lot of buzzwords. Google, AI. Let me go ahead and look up. No recent shelf registration, so downward pressure should be minimal. I mean, this does have some things going for it. No serious dilution pressure. It does at least have news. Volume is a little high. But the news isn't great. I mean... Says no news on your platform? Yeah. Just want to give a quick shout out to you guys. I'm willing to concede that you guys were right now. I was thinking that there was a chance that this could have curled here. I did say it was only a 30 or 40% chance, but I did think there was a higher chance it would curl. And it has rolled over. So the 90% of you were correct. Congratulations. Or 80% now. It just popped up. You see the news now? Yeah. Unfortunately, the floats or the shares outstanding is a little bit high. Price is a little bit low. So this really isn't ideal for me. I think I'll pass on this one. Remember, my results are not typical. Trading is risky, and most traders do not make money. You should not trade with money you can't afford to lose on AZI. That's right. That's right. Pie trader. Pie warrior trader. Yep. Yes. Q fucking dan, 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 dan. Yeah, I don't know how Ross's intro goes. His intro is really catchy though. Yeah. Yeah, I'll be honest. I feel like I just want to spectate right now. I don't really love the quality of these setups. I mean, EVGN, it definitely has something to it. Like, this has at least some potential to move, but it just doesn't feel like the best quality setup. I told myself I'd be patient today, and I'm going to be patient. Even if this does give me an optical setup here, I feel like the higher float, lower price really make this unideal. Because I know I got to cross the spread if I'm going to be trading it. And with such a lower price stock, the spread hurts even more because it's less likely to make big moves. Poll, should the trading captain start next stream with the Finky guitar intro? I feel like that I would get sued for like copyright or something for stealing Ross's intro. Guess we're just chilling here for now. This is slowly grinding higher, but it is a grind. Play it backwards. That'll just sound satanic, Pyman. I feel like that'd actually be kind of scary. Play it backwards. Just gonna stay patient, keep waiting. Yeah, I just want to throw something out there, just out of curiosity, hear what you guys think. So, I looked into AI and copyrighted music. So there's the general consensus with music like this is that you don't have the copyrights unless you're licensed when you make the music. If you're licensed, then you get permanent access to the music. So I could theoretically subscribe for a month, make a bunch of songs for the channel, then unsubscribe. So it'd be like $10. But the only way I'd really be able to do that or afford something like that is if I were to get super chatted $10, you know? Now, I don't have super chats enabled. I haven't monetized the channel any. But I'm just saying I could do that. And if I would get donations, I could put that money towards making some music for the channel. I don't know if that would be something that people would jump on board for, but that could be something I do. I'm fine with the copyright music, but stay away from the man. The man bun. Okay. I saw this funny comment. I mean, I like Ross. I think he's great. But, like, I saw this hilarious comment where someone's like, they're like, the only scam Ross has done is saying he's a warrior while looking like that. I love Ross, but like I thought that comment was really funny. Yeah, EPGN's kind of stalled out. AZI's pulled back. Honestly, it's just a very dangerous market to be trading right now. MBOT also kind of pulling back. You're saying big sellers on PHIO. I mean, I'm looking at the level 2. I don't see that. It looks like there's bigger. Okay, there's some big sellers. Yeah, there's like maybe like a 50,000 share seller wall at 133. I mean, that's significant. It can easily be overpowered by this volume, but it's not. I mean, the problem is it's really hard to assess, right? I'm looking at even on the bid side, there's sometimes 50,000 on the bid. Yeah, this is just a very thickly traded stock. It's not even like, realistically, a big buyer or seller would probably have to be like 200,000 for it to be big on a stock like PHIO. The problem is it's so thickly traded, and it's very apparent to me, regardless of what it says here for the shares outstanding. I assume it has to be higher, probably dilution, but this is definitely not just a few million shares. This has been diluted. $0.20 on PHIO, working on a better exit strategy this week. Good stuff, Skivon. I mean, I could understand why you'd want to engage with it here, but I mean, to me, it just feels like the float makes it more sketchy. Like you're fighting what feels like a bigger resistance for it to move up, because this was a grind. But I mean, hey, if you got it, good stuff. Mega cap tech stocks have seemingly rebounded. Do we think today it will cool off? I mean, you're talking about large caps. I haven't really kept up to date with large caps. What are we looking for, like, for the year? For just, I mean, it's, you say rebound. This one's like on sideways. This one's also kind of gone. Oh, this one was a slight downtrend. What other big companies are there? Is it AAPL? Yeah. This one's kind of recovered. PLTR. Yeah, PLTR is just very, very, very extended. Like, I don't even know how to assess PLTR, if I'm being honest. To me, this just looks like a big bubble. More the AI plays, yeah. Like, PLTAR is like really big AI, right? Poor AZI. Like, wow, what a dumpster fire AZI was. Guess I'll go ahead and put out a poll here, just out of curiosity. I have a feeling I know what the poll's going to be, but I won't bias the poll here. EVMN moving nice, but too rich for my blood. Yeah, EVMN is a bit too pricey for me too. There's another poll. I have a feeling I know what... I'm actually going to write down my prediction for the poll here. Let's see how close I get. But I suppose I am discounting EVMN. Like, I was only really looking at the stocks I thought would be in play. This one is very scary to me because this entire move up has been on essentially no volume. Like, this looks like a massive trap to me. Right? A lot of the movement is weighted heavy volume on the top. This looks like a classic pump and dump to me. But we'll see. Yeah, AZI literally giving back every inch of move it gave. Absolutely disgusting rejection. This is just nasty. Now, I'm glad I'm being patient today. This is certainly a day to be patient. All right, we've had a couple stocks that have moved. I mean, I guess you could trade the front side of this. The front side looked very clean. But, God, this rejection is horrid. PHIO didn't look clean to me either. Like, it did make this eventual leg, but just... This was such a slow grind. Even this was kind of a grind. I mean, it eventually did a pretty big rug here, but like, this was a pretty slow grind too. How do they even get away with that? Crazy. Yeah, welcome to the stock market, Pie Man. So I'll show my prediction now because it looks like my prediction was pretty close. So here was my prediction based off of what people in chat have been saying and from what I saw in the market. Honestly, I predicted it pretty close here. So, very cool that I seem to be mostly on the mark with that. But yeah, just gonna keep waiting here. I mean, we're a little over half through the morning session, so... There's still certainly opportunity, but I went into today not really expecting much. So I'm not really surprised to see that not much moved. It's going red on the day. That's crazy. That's crazy. And remember, too, we had this huge pump here that just randomly popped and dropped and gave it all back. Okay, Kat, we got to get you on Kalashi now. I have no idea what that is. Bottom reversal opportunity. I mean, I would agree with you, like, and I'm someone who tries to trade the falling knives, but to me, this one looks quite dangerous. Chinese stock pumping on ambiguous news, this very controlled selling. I mean, it could certainly reverse here, but just given the features of this move down, I'm really worried about just a rug pull. Like, you might think that this could be like the worst case, right? Going back to break even. But I've seen some instances, specifically on Chinese stocks, where this thing will then proceed to rug down to like $1. And this entire first pump was purely meant to get longs trapped and create bag holders. I've seen it happen. So, no, if this was a cleaner setup, like if this wasn't a very coordinated push down, like if it was a very volatile drop on light volume, that would create that value gap that I think gives me an edge. To me, this looks purely like just buying a real falling knife that doesn't have any clear bottom. I mean, if we're looking at the daily, like 131. So if you wanted to buy for one, you could look for like 131. But my only problem is this looks so coordinated. Prediction market bets. Oh. AZI, I knew it. Yeah, I mean, you guys are right. You guys, 95% of you called it out here that this was going to dump. Now, I don't know if you guys would have said it would have dumped this much, but where has the soup gone? You're looking very skinny. Yeah, I am very skinny. I guess you could say I'm on a diet. A diet of no soup. No, I mean, it's been a slower market, right? I haven't been forcing trades. I don't feel compelled to trade a lot of these setups. And I think that's the right mindset. If it's colder, then you got to be more careful. Like, I've looked at a lot of my peers that have been trading, the peers that are streamers, and a lot of them have been having difficulties lately. So I'm trying to be patient here. I did look into that DJ Master guy because I know some of you guys were talking about him, and on the surface he looked impressive. But I would just say for him, if you are someone who watches him, I would go through and just look at his results from earlier a month ago. And I think that'll be very revealing. But yeah, a lot of people seem to be struggling right now. My God, this thing is still just going down. It's just free fall. Candy went on full tilt yesterday and blew up his account log. Yeah, I'm saying. Here's the thing, right, too. A lot of people that trade, they'll have a good month, and then they'll assume that that's just the standard. Like, I had a pretty good month last month. I made like $80 net profit, or not net. I made $80 gross. I made like $30 net after the front-loaded fees. And luckily, that I love that happened because that really got the initial downward pressure out of the way, right? I wasn't starting in the hole. Even though I'm having a much more difficult month this month, right? At least for the channel documentation, this is the first month I'm going to be gross negative, or at least starting gross negative. So statistically, it can happen, but I'm very thankful that I at least had a cushion. And I think a lot of people will look at January, they'll say, hey, I had a green month, therefore I'm just really good and this is the normal, so I'm just going to keep pushing with this level of aggression every month. And what happens is they get frustrated whenever either the market's slow or they just keep losing, and then they just end up just capitulating and uncontrollably, and then they just start binge lossing, like with Candyman, where he just started to me, I read that as he got frustrated because the market was slow and he kept getting these losses he wasn't getting before. And that led him to compulsively trading in a very, very unfavorable condition, trying to force that recovery. And I think that's what happened. Like, I know Ben had a pretty big loss yesterday. Benjamin P. Trading. There's a couple others as well that I watch that have also had sizable losses the last week. So, yeah, there's a lot of people struggling right now. Yeah, and it's worth noting at this point, we have gone well below the previous day close. My theory that this was front-loaded to attract buyers is actually starting to look more realistic now. It may have been the case that this was front-loading to trap long bias traders. My God, this is brutal. Oh my God. Wow. 160 straight to 140. But no, if you're someone who's new, or not even just new, but if you're having a bad stretch right now, just understand the market comes and goes in swings. If you're having a bad session or a bad week, like I've had a couple people who have said, not a lot, but there's been a few people who have said, man, you've been really sucking at trading. You should just stop trading. You've had 3 green sessions in a row now. You're net negative on the month. But like, I understand we're in a slower stretch, and the key is that I will have these drawdown periods if I'm going to engage in them. And if I think there's a high quality setup, I should engage with it. But I just need to accept that there will be periods where if the market is slower, my strategy has a higher likelihood of producing a negative result. And as long as the total outcome is positive, to me, that's acceptable. I've lost a lot this week and slowly getting back on my feet, or last week, yeah. Well, I mean, to me, getting back on your feet, the biggest thing is just making sure that you're taking appropriate trades relative to the market. KUST, I'll take a look at it. Okay, this one's moving. My scanners didn't pick... probably... Why didn't my scanners pick it up? It's the right range. Volume just picked up here, so maybe... I feel like volume should have picked it up by now. Yeah, sometimes, occasionally my scanners, and this is why I use Zendu, it's because occasionally my scanners just don't pick up some of these stocks. Yeah, I didn't see this one pop up for me for whatever reason. Yeah, this had news. Yeah, AZI, absolute brick. Custom Entertainment's Ticket Smarter named among 10 best ticket resale sites of 2026. Okay, I mean, it's kind of a nothing burger to me. ACI might crack below 1. It's hard to say. Like I said, you could have tried to buy this. I don't know. This is such a dilution looking distribution though. This feels like a genuine falling knife if you tried to catch this. EVMN going hard. Wow. Yeah, I definitely don't touch this, but certainly impressive move. It's just too pricey for me. And this, again, like I'm genuinely surprised because this volume profile on the front side is super low volume. It actually, let me take a look here, because look at the daily chart. This is the whole daily. So this is a newer stock. This could be potentially a pump and dump, like a big scale pump and dump. Let me look into this company a little more here, because this is showing a lot of the pattern of a huge pump and dump. Okay, it's a US stock. This looks incredibly suspicious. Maybe worth keeping an eye on this just to see how it plays out. I don't want to mess with it, but this looks to me, I mean, it reads to me, the newer stock, it going flat like this price action where it's going up huge on light volume. Like, just to clarify too, for this move from 1665 up to 1848, this was essentially on like 3,000 shares of volume. Right, and this is 31 million shares outstanding. Float's probably higher because there's typically a lockup period on new stocks. But yeah, this reads to me like a pump and dump. And by pump and dump, I mean going below the prior level it was holding at. So I would be surprised if this thing would go to like $10 or $5 from where it's currently at. If it goes to 10 or 5, oh, it's going to be like a 90% drop. Mark my words, I think that there is a chance this goes to like $5 or $10. DJ's Momentum Mastery has $157 in soup today. He's full every day. Well, I've looked into DJ. I'm not going to stir controversy, but I understand his situation pretty well. So I'll just leave it at that. Yeah, AZI continuing to roll over. This is looking like a pure... This looks like distribution. Yeah. Yeah, this is not ideal how this setup has been going. What are my thoughts? I mean, I looked into him because there's been multiple people that brought him up. It looked impressive on the surface, right? New channel, 1,600 subscribers within posting and live streaming for like a month and a half. Looked impressive on the surface. It took like a couple hours yesterday just to kind of assess his trading and backlogged it. It's very, very obvious. If you go back through and look at the accounts he's blown up over, and he's documented it, so it's not like he's hiding it, but it's just what he currently has on his account is not, 300 watchers currently is wild. Well, it's very interesting to me. Okay, so the guy's blown up his account multiple times. He switched to demo because of that. Within 1 month of streaming, he already has a paid Discord server with other links to sign up to Ross's courses. I don't know if they're affiliate because they're behind a paywall, so I would have to subscribe and pay money to see if he's actually using affiliate links. But no, I mean, in 2 weeks, he blew up his account twice. So he switched to demo. He had a $10,000 demo account. He lost like 4,000 of that. The demo account that you're seeing currently, he's down a lot of money in it. Like, I understand he seems to have been on a green streak, but just looking and seeing that he's still currently down net in his demo account doesn't look good. Like, I don't know, like, I'm not accusing him of anything either, because if he's having green sessions, then I'm not going to say that he's faking that. He's streaming it, he's showing the trades live, so I'm not accusing him of faking anything, okay? I think it's more just unfortunate that he's had a green stretch, and that anybody new coming in will just see the green stretch, and they're not going to see the red before that. Right? I'm not saying he's a bad person or he's like hiding or manipulating anything, but I do think it is very interesting that he has managed to grow so quickly, already has paid services, yet he's blowing up his accounts. It's very interesting. And again, to be clear, like, I'm not like trying to stand from a superior figure of, oh, I'm so much better, because I'm not making a lot of money, right? So I'm not trying to say that like my way is the right way. It's just simply that I'm observing it, and I'm concerned with how, because like if you guys have watched my reviews, you know how I feel about the warrior trading course, and he pushes it very, very, well, not very hard, but he uses Ross's program and he has it linked everywhere. So I don't know. I have a lot of mixed feelings about it. I don't hate the guy. Again, I respect anyone who's willing to hustle, and as long as you're not inherently trying to take advantage of people or scam them. And I don't think he's doing that. But yeah. I'm curious what your day job is. So what I'm doing, I trade for my job. What I'm doing here is not where I get my money from. This is more of a side hustle that I'm trying to do to build up just kind of like my repertoire of different trading angles to approach from, right? Because I've done like futures and options and stuff like that. But no, I don't make a lot. I make like maybe like 100 to 200 a day. Mostly from swing trades and passive income sources. So I don't make crazy money. And even from this day trading strategy, and I'm trying to like wonder how to word this appropriately. So this strategy I used to, well, I mean, do you guys want to hear a story? I could tell you a bit more about this specific strategy I used, the falling knife setup, and like its history, but I'll see what you guys want. Do you guys want me? Yeah, I'll go ahead and make a poll. It's a pretty long story, so it might take like 5 or 10 minutes to explain. If you guys don't want to hear it, I'll just give you the brief summary. PHIO making a move again. 100%. Holy shit. You guys really want to hear it. Okay. All right. I'll tell you the story. All right. Okay, 14 votes. Okay. All right. I'll tell you the story. All right. So when I got into day trading, so I've been trading for over 7 years, but when I got into day trading seriously around 3.5, 4 years ago, I started... Did you expect anyone to answer? I didn't know. I didn't know how much you guys were interested. But when I got into day trading around 3.5, 4 years ago, I learned about Ross. He's kind of one of the people that introduced me to day trading. I took his course. And as you know, if you watched my review video, I lost like $4,000 taking his course after the first year. After that, I really had to step back and say, okay, Ross's strategy isn't working for me. So I started just experimenting with different things, throwing stuff, seeing what stuck, and I journaled it. I had this spreadsheet. I had a much more primitive version than I have now, but I made this spreadsheet and I've been refining it. Specifically, looking for these criteria and I've been adding them as I've been finding more things I thought were helpful indicators. But ultimately, I started with very, very small size, only trading like a few shares at a time in Thinkorswim at the time, because Thinkorswim used to be much better for a day trader with a small account, back whenever you could just trade anything without issue. So I did that for several months. I found out that this falling knife setup created that fair value gap, and I really, really focused on that. I did that for about 6 months. And I would trade it during the market hours, not during pre-market, but market hours. And so I started sizing up incrementally, going from 50 shares. I eventually got to 100. And at peak, I was trading with about 2,000 shares per trade. So a very significant size. And I ended up quitting my job. Mind you, I had no other income sources at the time. So it was purely this system at the time. And I had about 2,000 shares per trade, and my account would have swings like where I might make like $400 or $500 in a day. I might lose $400 or $500 in a day. So pretty big swings. And this was during market hours, which realistically I needed to be during market hours, because during pre-market, there's less volume. As you've probably seen from a lot of my setups, if I'm trading a falling knife, the volume's very light. Trying to buy 2,000 shares and get out with that 2,000 shares would be very hard during pre-market. But anyway, I was trading with around 2,000 shares at max. And I got to tell you, it was a terrible, terrible decision. So what happened when I quit my job was all of my income started to becoming relying on this system. And like it got to the point where my hands would shake. I was throwing up. I was experiencing insomnia. I couldn't sleep. My stress was through the roof. I was paranoid constantly. And then there was this Chinese stock, okay? And by the way, I was trading with a $25,000 margin account. So I had access to a lot of buying power. So there was a Chinese stock that came up. It had a pretty big rejection. So I bought in. It was like a $1, no, it was like a $2 stock. And I bought in, and it just kept going down. And I ended up capitulating. So this is going to be very embarrassing, but I'll say it. So I bought in with the $25,000 account, and I bought into like 4,000 shares, which was a good bit of buying power at that point. It was like 8,000. But it just kept going down and down, and it broke 50. And like one of the things I look for is how it reacts at the half dollar, whole dollar. So when it broke 50 and it hesitated, I'm like, okay, this should bounce. So I went to 16,000 shares, and the price continued to grind down slowly. And in my head, I'm just thinking this has to bounce. And I just fully capitulated. I basically hit buy again, and I doubled again to 32,000 shares of a Chinese penny stock. And I think it's within half an hour, I lost around $7,000. Mind you, I was still green on the year. I made I think it was like $15,000 or $20,000 that year, but losing 7,000 in 30 minutes gave me extreme PTSD. I cut the trade after that. I basically hit max pain, $7,000 loss in 30 minutes. And by the way, I did check on the stock after I sold. The stock proceeded to go down another 50%. So I would have probably lost around 15,000 if I would have kept holding. So just in case you were curious if the trade would have bounced, it would not have bounced. But that was like a real wake-up call to me. So when you see me trading in a cash account, understand there's a reason why. And it's because I've lost a lot of trust in myself that day, that I could maintain composure. And granted, at the time, too, I was under tremendous stress. This was my income source. This was my job. So me putting all that pressure onto me with no accountability partner or anything, it was too much. Yeah, it was very rough for me. So that's a big part of it. is why I stepped away and I said, I don't want to trade such an aggressive system with such high capital. That's why I trade in cash. That's why I trade smaller size now. That's why I'm so much more risk adverse, because I've seen firsthand what happens if you push yourself to the limit with no one around for accountability. So that's pretty much where I stood. I still made money that year. I was up around 10,000 or something from this strategy, trading it that year. But I was so emotionally scarred, like I just had, oh, I just want to go back to AZI. Look at this. Look at this shit. Like, I mean, even looking at AZI, Chinese stock, it's kind of like this, right? Where you just think it's got to bounce. And I was in this state where it's like, it's got to bounce here. Let me just add here. Let me just add here. But that's my story for this strategy. Like, I made a lot of money with it. I'm thankful I made money with it. I had that huge loss. It really put into perspective that I can't rely on such aggressive, high-stress trades to make money for me. Or at least to be my primary income source, because it's too much pressure. Yeah, it's looking more and more to me like this was an intended pump and dump. Like, they were making it look rosy here. You know for sure there's a lot of bag holders that have bought here hoping for that bounce and just haven't gotten it. But yeah, that's if that helps you guys understand why I'm so risk adverse. Yeah, that's basically why I'm at this state. And here's my issue. And I want to bring this up because I think this is really important. With what I'm trying to push right now on my channel, I'm trying to make my big focus on process, on making sure you're looking at a proper system, you're looking at metrics to determine whether or not your system works. And there's a lot of people that don't do that. So I see a lot of people lose money. They look up to Ross, and I think Ross is a great guy, but a lot of people can't replicate Ross's results. And then they stream as if, like, Ross is giving them good results. Like, I see a lot of people who will praise Ross, but their returns are bad. Like, they're net negative, but they're saying that they recommend Ross. And I feel like this is very, very dangerous, very destructive to a lot of people, making people lose a ton of money. And I think it's very unhelpful. My initial goal was that by sharing my process, even though I decided, okay, I want to trade small size because I don't want the focus to be on, like, me making money. I know I can get stressed out when I trade with a lot of money, so let me trade with very small money. But I think this is actually hurting my argument, because people will come and they will see that I'm not making a lot, so they will say that I'm just a hater. Okay, fair enough, right? Your results are not substantial in a practical way that you're showing on YouTube. Therefore, your system's invalid. And I think there is some argument to that, which is why I'm ultimately wanting to pivot away from the strategy I'm sharing here. But until I finish developing this other one I'm working on, I plan to keep using this one. Am I back to work now? No. With my other systems that are more passive income, I actually am making enough money to where I haven't worked in over a year. I haven't had to. Yeah, the biggest traders in Ross's chat can't even replicate Ross. Yeah, I have yet to see someone who can. And that's part of why I looked into DJ Mastery so much, is because if someone is showing good results with Ross, I don't want to just say, oh, they're the exception, ignore them. I want to verify, right? If someone can make money, because like my argument is you shouldn't trade Ross's system because people can't replicate his results. So therefore, if someone is making money and they're saying they're using Ross's system, that is evidence against my claim. So I need to look into that. I need to, and if their case is legitimate, then I need to concede that my argument isn't entirely accurate. right? So to me, looking into them is very, very important for validating that my position is correct. Ross's strategy has to be applied with right timing also. He would have to trade the front side of AZI, not pop in it later whenever there's nothing supporting it. Well, I didn't realize UOKA from yesterday dumped so hard. Did it dump? I thought it was holding up pretty well yesterday. Whoa, okay, I mean, that's got to be dilution, right? Yeah, public offering. Yep. So they did a public offering. That's why it dumped. Where do I live? My expenses must be low. I live in Pennsylvania. I mean, realistically, and this is kind of where I'm at, I'm making enough to where I'm basically just paying the bills. Like, I have enough to live. I have enough for food, enough for paying the essential utilities and stuff. But I'm not really growing my account, which is part of why I started YouTube. Not for the monetization, but really I want to explore other avenues. Like other strategies, like I said, I'm developing a short strategy right now. But just other ways that I can get money just to try and get some kind of growth going. Now, I'm very... If you followed me on this channel, you know I'm really against selling courses. I'm against selling signals. It seems counterproductive for a lot of reasons. First of all, I'm okay sharing my strategy on stream because I don't think a lot of you can replicate it. There's so many nuances that I've had to fine-tune that I don't think someone could just pick it up and use it. But with that said, I wouldn't make a course specifically teaching it because, first of all, I think the strategy mostly works because people don't do it. And second of all, if other people learn my strategy, then my strategy won't work. Like, that's the big issue. And I guess a third point would be, is I would hate to teach someone a strategy and then see them lose money from it. I would feel so guilty if I did that. And that's like my biggest fear. Like, I don't want to sell someone something knowing that I am selling them bad goods. That's my biggest fear. I like Just Trades. He is an amazing trader. I can look into them. I have never heard of that person. I'll check him out. What do you like about him? Also, like, we're nearing the 2-hour mark, and there's just nothing good to trade. Custs rolled over completely too. This is such a terrible day. Like, there's just nothing good. How's PHIO doing? Is it still holding up? PHIO is grinding higher. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm sitting right now. Ross is down 10K soup today. Yeah. No, today's... Not just today. The last week and a half has been slow. Right? I didn't take any trades so far today. I'll stay around at 9, see if we get anything on the 9 o'clock news. I'm not really expecting anything. But I definitely think I am in the correct mentality right now where the market is slow. I shouldn't be taking a trade unless it's extremely optimal. Yeah. Well, he trades in Warrior Trading, but he has an offshore account, 2K, and pulls profit every week. He only trades big movers, except. Okay. I mean, I'll look into them. I'll reserve judgment until I see how they trade and see the results. Right? The biggest thing for me, there's a couple things. So first of all, are you transparent? The biggest transparency signals to me are live streaming, because it's very, very hard to fabricate that. So the more of your trades you show on stream, the better for your credibility. The second one is time frame. If you've only been trading for like a month and showing it live, then that's a small enough time frame to where maybe you could fake it or just get lucky. Like, I think my account is starting to approach the period where I've been streaming for about 4 months. So I would like to say that, at least credibility-wise, you can assume that my strategy is probably what it looks like. Right? 3 months green, 1 month red. And I guess the third one would be risk tolerance, right? Because if you're swinging for the fences every trade, then I don't know. It depends, right? If even if you're swinging for the fences, if you have a long enough history, then I think that's good enough, right? Because swinging for the fences isn't inherently bad if the setup is good. Thoughts on Candy? I like Candy. I mean, I do. I feel bad for him. Like, he's been trading for years, still no success. Like, I really wish I could just talk with him privately, because there's a lot I could probably say to him. And especially lately, he seems like he's in a really bad mental state, right? He got really, really frustrated yesterday and had a huge red day. And but by the way, I think he seems like a genuinely great person. Like, as far as consciousness wise, and as far as like understanding others, I think he's probably one of the better people that I've seen in the smaller channel communities. Like, I haven't really mentioned this publicly, but a lot of the people that I used to be talking with, once they saw my position on Ross, they have basically said, I'm not going to work with you anymore. So if you're wondering why I don't really communicate or do collabs with people anymore, yeah. And I've just kind of had to accept that. It's very sad to me, but that's just how it is. Yeah, great guy. Well, I wouldn't even call him terrible. He seems to be very logical. It's just that he kind of loses his wits sometimes, right? He has his mental capital gauge, which I think is a great signal. But the issue is when you get low on mental capital, the logical argument is to walk away. But if you're low on mental capital, you don't have the capacity to process mentally, which is where things become bad. What do I mean my position on Ross? I made a review video, if you haven't seen it. Kind of, and that's... I mean, you've got the front-running claims on Ross. I don't want to accuse Ross of anything, because I think it's, while there's evidence that could suggest front-running, I don't think there's enough to prove it. And since Ross is such a massive authority figure, right, he's got massive capital at his dispense. He's got a huge community. Like, it'd be suicide for me to try and compete with him or like to call him out. So I don't intend to do that. But I do think there is a significant concern that front running could exist. And even just looking, if you ignore the dubious area like front running, and if you just look at purely how people perform, because I did an investigation into the FTC filing that was done for $3 million against Ross, where he settled. And the lawsuit was about how most people who take his course don't make money. And my argument was that if most people, according to the FTC, this isn't their words, the vast majority of people who trade with live cash that take Ross's system lost money. Like, that's from the FTC. So if the vast majority lost money, and I can't see anybody who's shown success with his system. Like, if you look at his, if you look at, what is it? What does he call it? Like the 100K Club. There's the testimonials from the 100K Club. They have a name for it, but we'll just call it that. The majority of people from the 100K Club don't even trade Ross's system. A lot of them said that it didn't work for them, so they had to kind of make their own branch niche. So that's kind of where I stand on Ross. And whenever a lot of the YouTubers that I used to network with found out that that was my stance, a lot of them didn't really like that. Like, when I posted that video, I lost like 20 subscribers from posting that video. You think that video helped me? That video hurt me, okay? And I didn't do it to get subscribers. I mean, I did want subscribers, but like, that video ultimately hurt me, putting that out there. Not only did it hurt me from losing subscribers, but I also lost networking options because a lot of people don't want to work with me now, which is very sad. But that's just the way the world is, I guess. Maybe it was wrong for me to take too much of a stance against Ross. I don't know. And even then, I was very conservative. I'm not taking a stance saying that Ross definitely front runs. I'm not saying that because I don't think there's enough evidence to support it. Support it beyond a reasonable doubt. I think there's evidence that it is suspicious and there could be arguments for it, but I don't think there's enough to conclude it. Yeah, I've just been kind of ranting here. There's just nothing. I mean, I don't mind talking if you guys enjoy it. I mean, I got 48 people watching, so you guys must be at least okay with the rant. But and I do want to clarify again, I have tremendous respect for Ross. I think he's a great teacher. He's excellent at communicating. He seems like a really down-to-earth guy. Like I do not hate Ross. I think I even watched some of his recaps. I think he's a great value in that way. Not at all. I watch you because you go against the grain. And it's not that I want to go against the grain either, right? To be clear, if I aligned myself with Warrior Trading students and I basically simped for Ross, I guarantee you I would be over 1,000 subs already. I guarantee you. Right? If I just would have made a nice, fancy video praising Ross and saying that I recommend his course, ignore the fact that I lost $4,000 taking his course, ignore the thousands of dollars I put into the course. Right? I mean, net, I probably lost like net almost $8,000, right? Because I spent $3,700 or whatever for the pro. I bought the simulator. I bought the live service, the mentorships. So yeah, I mean, that plus the 4,000 I lost. I lost like $8,000 from Ross's course in total, right? So if I didn't mention that, and here's the thing: if you watch a review video, and I've seen this is a pattern I saw because I looked at other review videos for Ross. I ended up doing research on 10 review videos, the 10 biggest ones I could find. And of those 10, only one mentioned that they didn't make money from the course. The other 9 did not mention how much money they made or lost from the course, but they all recommended it. And I think this is a very dangerous precedent where people are associating the value they think they got from the course with their results. So like people are not making good results from the course, but they perceive that they got good value because they thought that Ross educated them. So they are therefore recommending the course. This is a very, very dangerous mentality that I think has hurt countless people. Maybe not intentionally. VELO. We actually have some movement here, so let's go ahead and take a look at this. It does have news at 9. Qualified as first additive manufacturing vendor for U.S. Army ground vehicles. Ranting is better than getting anxious and aimlessly trading. Yes, certainly, Lawson. Let's see. Today announced it has been additive manufacturing vending. This seems like a strong catalyst, not gonna lie. Yeah, here's my concern. It's the end of the session. This seems like a good catalyst. Volume's kind of light. You got a pretty thin spread. About 10,000 on the ask at 15. PHIO still grinding. It's a grinder. Yeah, no, and in its defense, it is grinding well. But, like, it's moving too slow for me, right? Like, that's... You would basically be in for the grind if you were trying to trade PHIO. Well, the 15 wall got taken out. What is the shares for Velo? It looks low. 24 million it says here, but the spread is pretty big. Yeah, shelf registration about 2 weeks ago. Yeah, the shelf registration certainly makes things more complicated here. Do you think I'll happen to PHO at open? I don't know what that means. Cap, I'm always open to new strategies. Are you willing to share yours at a high level, or do you have a dedicated video on it? Or have you been telling us all about it for the past... telling us all about it for the past 20 minutes? Unfortunately, like, I don't mind sharing surface level with it. But the reality is I think it works because people don't do it. So realistically, I can share it, and I know people won't be able to replicate it without knowing exactly why I'm doing what I'm doing. But with that said, I believe that if I share it and explain the actual process and enough people pick up on it, that the edge will go away. So it's kind of productive. Like, even if I wanted to help people by sharing it, I actually remove the strategy altogether. Like, no one will be able to do it if I share it. So I don't mind sharing surface level for it, right? You can kind of interpret some of what I'm looking for from just the criteria, but no, I don't have a video breaking down exactly what I do. I don't really plan to either. Like, it doesn't help me, and if I share it, it doesn't help you. Yeah. Spreads are big on everything that's made a move. I mean, so here's the thing. Like, this is a strong catalyst, in my opinion. We do have the fact that the spread seems to be thinner. There seems to be some volume here relative to the price. So this looks decent to me. My issue is, at the end of the day, I have no cushion at all. And this also has a prospectus recently. Some billionaire whale in here rubbing his hands together, waiting for him to reveal his secrets. Yeah. No, and at a higher level, like, I'm definitely leaving money on the table, right? Because, like, when I was trading back with 1,500, 2,000 share size, I was making upwards of, like, almost 500 a day. Granted, I was losing money, too. I think, like, my average actual gain was probably closer to 100 or 200 a day when you account for the losses. But no, with high share size, this is definitely a strategy you could do as a full-time job. My problem is that I have better strategies I use during the day now, so I don't have any time I can even do this strategy during the day. Because during market open until like noon, I have a totally different strategy that I find to be more reliable that I use during market hours. Elon is known to frequent the stream. Yeah. Well, if I would have bought here for this 1 minute pullback, this would have worked. So maybe the news just ended up holding up. I don't know. But I'm going to take this as my signal for the day to walk away here. Realistically, let's go back through a couple of these real quick. So PHIO, probably one of the only actual good resolutions. And unfortunately, it was a cheaper stock with a higher float that just kind of grinded. So very difficult to trade this one effectively. MBOT didn't really do anything. Velo currently moving. EVGN, basically a dud. I mean, what? I guess this went up like 25%. Nothing really too crazy with that one. Complete rollover and flatline, similar to ICU from yesterday. AZI, Chinese rug pull. So it seems like today was pretty hostile. I didn't take any trades. It doesn't seem like there was good opportunity, so I believe I made the correct judgment call today. And yeah, I mean, I guess I'm just waiting to see how things go tomorrow. Like I said, I'm currently working on a new strategy. I'm expecting to go live with it maybe in like 4 days or something. And until then, I'm going to keep using the current strategy here. But yeah, I'm going to go ahead and hop over to Candyman's stream. I definitely would go ahead and recommend him. He's one of the few people who's been supportive of me, despite me having a different viewpoint on Ross than he does. I'll go ahead and shout out his stream here. I'm going to go ahead and jump over to it. If you're not already subscribed and you want to see more from my content, do subscribe. I stream every day. And yeah, I'll catch you guys later.